So let's talk about songwriting process because you did.
Okay.
I imagine man, I've interviewed a lot of songwriters over my time. I've been very blessed, and you are just so intriguing to me because your voyage from beginning to end on a song just feels so made up in the moment. How much of it is made up in the moment, first of all? How much of it is like quote unquote freestyle? And what is your process? Are you like, are the lyrics just coming to you, or does the music make you feel the lyrics? Like, how does it work for Ross?
Um, it's I would have to say before the pandemic, my songwriting process was very formulaic. I would maybe come up with a chord progression that I liked. I'd have a line or two in my head, and I would try to build a concept around the one or two lines. Now, um, after the pandemic, because I'm doing this pretty much every day, because you know, I feel a little more comfortable in my ability, and I feel a little more comfortable kind of touching on things that maybe 15 or 20 years ago I would have been like, I don't want to write a song about that. That's too personal. Now I don't really care. I if the song wants to go where the song wants to go, I'll let it go there. And if that means it's a very bleak song, that means it's a very bleak song. If that means it's a goofy song, that means it's a goofy song. And so being comfortable in with that and just letting the song happen, I think has really increased my process and my ability to write a quality piece of music. Freestyle, no, I'm not really much of a freestylist. That's in the duets. That's mainly me freestyling. That's me, like, whenever I have those, I'll listen to it two or three times. I'll get a lyric in my head that I want to come back to, or I want to incorporate, and then I'll just write a song. I'll just write a song, and I don't care what it is or where it goes. I'll just write a song. Um, but with my own original material, right now my process has been, I want to tell some kind of story. I want I want everything to kind of unfold in a logical storytelling type of way. And so I will try to tweak the song after I've written it with lyrics or verses, or I'll move things around so that it has a cohesive story element. Because I've noticed, just in doing TikTok for the almost 3 years that I've been doing it, people want stories in their songs. They want a story. They want something that they can relate to and something that tells a story. And that's where the entertainment comes in. And knowing that now, I can craft songs that have those elements in them, and I know that that's going to be something that people will find some accessibility in, because that's the key right there. Is you want people to be able to access your songs on their level and bring their own experiences to them, so that they can enjoy that song too. It's a lot harder to have somebody enjoy a song like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of one that's real up its own butt. I have a couple like that. But when you write a complicated song that has a lot of metaphors and things that are meaningful to you, people can't always access that. You
That's
get
right.
you got to find a balance between those types of things that you want to do, and then I guess pop song elements that will allow people to access those things. So finding that balance is what I try to do in every song
I love that
now.
answer. Just prior to this interview, last week I interviewed a Grammy Award winning songwriter, and when he was young, he wrote a song. I can't remember the name of it, but the gist of the song is his grandfather died, and when his grandfather died, his grandmother stopped living, Now, obviously,
Hmm.
his grandmother's still alive. This is a metaphor, right? She stopped living the day he died. In fact, that was the name of the song. She stopped living the day he died. So, this song, he brought it to his publisher, and he was like, the publisher was like, this is not going to work. Like, nobody else's grandfather died. Nobody else's grandmother stopped living the day he died. You have to make this more open ended. And so he went back to the drawing board and he ended up writing a song called While You Loved Me, which went number 6 for Rascal Flatts.
Okay.
So
All right.
the the what you're saying right there is exactly what he went through with that song and how it shaped. There was very little access for people when he first wrote the song, but when he turned it around and put it back out with the While You Loved Me, it was more accessible to people because of the relationship part of it. Just the open
Correct.
ended words of the song instead of being so specific,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. I, I, yeah. I think that's that's an important element of songwriting is we have to remember that there's an audience out there that's listening to this. And if we want to be, if you want to write complicated songs for yourself, that's fine. But if you want an audience to, well, like you or be into your stuff, you do have to think about, you know, am I writing something that is going to be, that is going to communicate itself
Mm-hmm.
to people on some level? And if the answer is no, then you should go back and tweak that in some way.
And it's already hard to do anyway because you're telling a story, right?
Right.
And I mean, mainstream radio and mainstream record labels, they don't care about stories in songs. What they care about is marketability in songs. And so,
Correct.
marketability and stories are not the same thing when it comes to mainstream music. So,
That's correct.
typically, when you are a storyteller, you are typically an indie or independent singer songwriter. And that's when you can shine. And so here's that question for you. Let's say you were trying to do what you're doing now 25 years ago, before TikTok and before YouTube and all of that stuff. How would your path have changed as a songwriter, do you think?
Man, I don't know. I think that I I probably would have had more success. Um, because like I said, I've kind of figured out that that's the game of songwriting is trying to find that balance. I think as a younger songwriter, I was too much into my own art and too much up my own rear end to change it or to write something that's more accessible. Now, you know, now that I know that if I'd have been doing that 20, 25 years ago, I I don't know, I might have some songs on the radio now.
Right? And
Because I, that's the thing that TikTok has shown me is that you know for the longest time people the people around me that knew I was a songwriter, they would tell me, you're good at this. Having TikTok tell me that, having thousands of people tell me that, millions of people, that's more validating, and that does show me that I do have some abilities, and I've noticed that the more accessible I've made my songs going forward, the more people have stuck around and wanted to hear more of them. And so I wish I did learned that lesson a long time ago. But life's not over yet. I still got a lot of time to be able to
yeah,
get these songs.
still a lot of growing to do, a lot of growth yet to grow. So why do you feel, maybe looking back, why do you feel like TikTok is has worked so well for you, whereas maybe some of the other platforms haven't? Like, what is it about TikTok?
I think it's because the algorithm's so different than all the other places. Um, I also think it has to do with the fact that people that surf TikTok, they're doing this a lot. They're flipping, they're flipping, they're flipping, they're flipping, they're
Mm-hmm.
flipping. And if they're going through and cycling through that many videos, that means the likelihood of you coming up is is larger. It's greater.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, they're getting on, and unless that thing pops into their feed somehow, or unless they're surfing for hashtags and you happen to be the thing that they see, you're not going to get seen as much. So it's
Right.
I think it's repetition of people cycling through these videos so quickly, and then I can't discount the fact that I look different than most people. So when I pop up on somebody's feed, they're probably going to stop and go, "What is this?" And then once they do, they're going to see me playing a song, singing something, or acting real goofy, and they might go, "Oh, okay, this is strange," and they might stick around and try to see more stuff. So I do think that that has a lot to do with it. I've had so many people that have said, "I stopped here because I thought it was a joke. That this is actually really good," which is one of my favorite comments that I ever get because
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's been my life. I love going out and just knocking people's socks off when they're like, "Who the hell is this guy?"
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things to do in the entire world. But I think that's why. I think it's just because it's a combination of having a face that people are going to be interested in stopping on, having an ability at making music or making people laugh that is accessible to people, and just the fact that this is a site that is built on just cycling through videos quickly.
And the ultimate don't judge the book by its cover story, right?
Correct. That's right.